Thank you very much, everybody, for coming to my channel. Today, we have a very, very special guest, Juan O Savin. And Juan O Savin is extremely famous and popular among disclosure movement, truth seeker movement in abroad. And maybe the Japanese people might not know Juan O Savin that well. So today I'm very, very honored, and I'm so grateful that Juan O Savin gave me some time to come to my Japanese channel. And thank you very much again, Juan. I know you're very busy. You have already did many interviews today. Thank you very much indeed. And I really want to be grateful to your wife, Jennifer, as well. Thank you.
So I'm very, very excited to get a chance to talk to you and Miyoko-san. I'm very excited to spend a few minutes with you. You know, I spent a lot of time in Japan.
Oh, I see.
In the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And had great friends during that time period in what we were doing to take down the Soviet Union on their ruble. So Japan really played a role that's virtually unknown in the world in the collapse of the Soviet Union. Even the Russian people wanted it gone because it had become so corrupt, so evil, the people that were in there. So we did a big favor to the world and to the Russian people, taking down that corrupt organization. So, and by the way, you know, of course, you've seen, I think Jen sent you one of the books that we did. I don't know, did we? I hope we did. If we didn't, we'll send you one. Did you get a book, My Kid by the Side of the Road, translated into Japanese?
Yeah, are you looking at the screen?
Oh, there you go. Good deal, kiddo. Yes. And so I've been asked to put it in German and in Spanish and Portuguese and other stuff. But I have a special affinity for Japan, the Japanese people. And of course, my wife is half Japanese. So we are allies at a level that very few people fully, truly understand. Even President Trump has considered that from a security standpoint, the safest country in the world for him to be in outside of the United States is Japan. How about that? There's events going on in the world right now. It's fun to get some of the history, but there's things happening right this second that I want the Japanese people to know about that is going to affect you also.
Okay.
And so I would like to talk on some of that. We'll get a little bit of the credentialing out of the way. I'll give a few things. Yes, and for those that, you know, they probably don't know. So my wife is Japanese American. Her family came to the United States before, you know, early 1900s, before World War I even. And so she was born here and her parents born here. And she's half Irish and half Japanese. And but I had worked in Japan in the mid 80s and into the late 80s, amongst other countries around the world, when we were working during the Reagan administration to take down the Soviet Union, as Reagan described it, the evil empire. Even the Russian people today, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, were very grateful for what was done out of the West to help collapse that machine. It really was a horror for the people that were there. Very much like the horrors we're seeing in Venezuela right now, or South Africa, in Johannesburg. That it had become something, whatever was promised, it was a nightmare. And so when we collapsed it, we freed a lot of people from that. Now, and I will tell you that the thing that's coming that's going to affect the whole world is another banking crisis. And Japan is in a very vulnerable situation in what's going to happen. And it's a leftover echo effect reverberating all the way back to the late 80s when we used Japan's banking system as part of the financing arm to take down the Soviet Union. And by the way, everybody thought that it would end with nuclear war. Well, it didn't. There was a price to be paid. We paid it in the economic community, but we didn't pay it with millions of lives dead because of a nuclear event. So as hard as it was still better than the alternative in taking down the Soviet Union and collapsing it. Japan fundamentally on its infrastructure is actually healthier than most any place else on the planet. Very few places on planet Earth are as sound, mechanically, well maintained overall as Japan is. So whatever happens, you're starting with a fairly healthy backbone. If you have to be lean for a period of time, you can do that. And it may not be comfortable, but you're in a good position compared to other places around the world. In this economic crisis that I see coming right now, very soon now, America's bounce back, which will do very well, is intricately tied to Japan, maybe more than any other country in the world. So when we bounce back, Japan's bouncing back with us. And that's why, from the political and business side, these huge deals with the threat of tariffs, but then tying Japanese economy to the U.S. economy are so good because you will benefit very strongly in the Asian markets and across the world because of our strong relationship. And the other thing that I'll say that may sound a little sexist, male, whatever, the Japanese population, because people are frugal, they're studious, they don't waste, they have a culture of that. They love their pets, which are a little easier to manage than kids. But at the end of the day, Japanese women and Japanese men are some of the most physically beautiful people on planet Earth. They are, on the whole, healthier for many reasons. The food, the diet, the cleanliness of their environment that they work hard to do. I say that, and it will sound funny, but I'm just asking you to think about it. You know, I believe that there's a bounce back within the population in Japan, that as the economy improves, the pressure, the housing and like that situation begins to ease again a bit. I think you'll bounce back very quickly and in your population. And the kids that are born there over this next 30, 40 years and raised in Japan have the opportunity to be raised in one of the cleanest, healthiest environments on planet Earth with things that are coming. Even after Fukushima and other things, we've got things that we're trying to do to help solve some of those issues there. But I think that the world will be amazed because other places with some of the crises that are coming, including in the banking, yes, you can have a larger population, but that's not the same as having a healthier population. And Japan is well positioned that this next generation literally are going to fall back in love with each other and raise some amazing kids that will be very industrious and will pick up the baton and move forward in an amazing way. And I'm actually looking forward to it. And I think that because you can't keep good people down in that way, and this next generation of kids is going to wake up and see that. together, Japan and America, more so than other countries, are going to go not just to the edge of space, but to the stars and the technological relationships. Last thing I'll say on that, one of the things that you have in Japan that we really, really need, you have about, not quite half of the world's supply of titanium, which is used in very light vehicles and space applications and certain high stress applications, high temperature locations. You have that in troves. So using that and then some of the technologies with hybrid specialized metals, which use titanium as a base. In fact, I have an operation over here in America that we also have titanium in our mines. And so we're one of the rare places in the United States that has mineable quantities of titanium. We can compete with Japan much better. I don't intend to do that. I'm going to shoulder up with the Japanese miners, and we're going to work on technology where they can use all of our materials, and we'll both be operating at full capacity to make the new materials that will allow us to move off the surface of the Earth into near space, to the edge of the atmosphere. And I will add this. Japan, part of the reason why that's so important, there is a lot of congestion in areas of Japan, higher than some other parts of the world, including the United States. It's our natural next step as people, high-tech cultures, to make that next step, that first step to actually having, building out our skyscrapers at the edge of the Earth's atmosphere, to move to the edge of space and colonize that, the area over Japan, the areas over the United States and other places in the world. And I could get into huge, long conversations of that. I just want to leave people with where you have a declining population. Some of that is the pressure, somewhat on the cost of resources, some on the space, etc. But when you uncork the energy of the Japanese people and the Japanese culture, the Toyota way favors what is needed with precision, exacting construction, idea sharing, and build out as you move into the very technical build out of near space. 50 years from now, I fully expect that you'll have small cities above Japan in the atmosphere above you, the upper atmosphere, high up. Same thing in America. We're going to do that together. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, I see. The floating cities, you mean?
Yes, and there's reasons why that is. By the way, from a technical standpoint, space station has to be boosted up over and over and over again. It's up there, 250, 300 miles up. At the edge of the atmosphere, if you build a big boat, but you say, cruise ships, I think Jen and I are going to cruise around Japan again here sometime next year. These huge cruise ships, 5,000 people on them. If I told you that you need to build a cruise ship that will sail 100 feet above the water so the waves don't bother it and it's comfortable all the time, etc. The cost to build a cruise ship, the technology to build a cruise ship that could sail like an airliner or something, a blimp, anything, 100 feet over the water. If these cruise ships today are costing $1 billion for these monster cruise ships, $500, $800 million. If I said I have to be 100 feet above the water, the cost of that cruise ship might be $100 billion. The cost to pay for fuel or technology or whatever it is to be in that location would be unfathomably more. It might cost you $1 trillion to do the same thing that you could do for a mere billion, 1,000 times more expensive. If I said to you, I want you to build that cruise ship and I want you to have it operate 100 feet below the surface where it's calm and there's no wave action, and you can look out the window and see the starfish and the octopus and everything else. The same cruise ship with 5,000 people on it, it might cost you $1 trillion. It might cost you more than that to do that. And then it might not be near as safe. The same thing with the one that's 100 feet over the water. What do? We build it to float on the water, and we displace the liquid water. That's the dividing line between the liquid water and the atmosphere, which is also water. It's a water vapor. It's gaseous. But we displace that liquid water, and it's very efficient. Boats float in the water. They float very nicely, and you can build cruise ships with 5,000 people very cost effectively. And you can run them through the water very cost effectively. These huge floating cities. We don't need to build our space stations to float 200 and 300 miles up, where we have to keep boosting them back up. All of those supply ships, people don't realize this, they go up and they reboost with fuel the space station higher because it's constantly falling like a rock. It's just that it's going so fast at about 14,500 miles an hour around the Earth. It's like a ball on a string, and it's kind of using some of that energy trying to just right at the edge of leaving Earth and flying out into space. But gravity kind of holds it there. And so it's slowly falling, portions of a mile every day. And then a supply ship comes up and has to reboost it higher because it's falling to the Earth. If you park these next stations where we want to build them, I designed a space station, decades ago, that is the core of what I want to do once we get some of these wars sorted out here on the planet. Very cost effective, very cheap, comparatively. Cheaper than a cruise ship in the water, by the way. When you park them at the edge of the vapor sphere, think of the water. You have out in front of our place here, I'll show you. You have a beautiful ocean, and we have this liquid water, okay? But that liquid water is, very defined where it's sitting. You can go all over planet Earth, and that water is about the same height with a little bulge because the Earth is rotating and at the equator, and then tidal bulges from the moon and sun and stuff like that. But for the most part, that's the height everywhere. As you look up into the sky, that's a vapor. All of that is gaseous vapor. As you move up into the sky higher, the air gets thinner and thinner and thinner to where somewhere around 20,000 feet, it's very, very hard to breathe. Pilots must put oxygen on at 14,000 feet. But if you go far enough up, you go 25 miles up, there's still enough density in the air, even at 80 and 90 miles up. There's still a very light density to this gaseous area that you can float things in. And if you have the right kind of materials, and I won't give away any secrets, but we have it. We have really cool stuff, some of it used in military and other stuff. You can float things up there and use the electric charge in the atmosphere and the differential between the ground and the atmosphere to move things around very quickly. And because the air is so thin, say I was moving 25 miles above the Earth, where the atmosphere is about 1/2 of 1% of the density of the air right out in front of me where I'm at here. very thin. If I stuck my window out in a car at 100 miles an hour here, it would want to throw my hand back very quickly. If I was in a boat and I stuck my hand out in the water and it was just going 30 miles per hour, if I stuck my hand out in the water, it'd be very hard to hold it there. It was so thick, it want to snap my hand right off. If I was going 100 miles an hour in a car, I stick my hand out the window and it's buffeting. It just barely wants to be there. If I go up 25 miles up in the atmosphere, if I was able to stick my hand out the window, the air is so thin that at 100 miles an hour, it'd feel like it does right now. We got about a 5-mile-an-hour breeze. I can hold my hand out here right now. You see the fronds on the palm trees moving just a little bit. I wouldn't hardly feel it. Okay. And so when you're up there at that height, something that's like a brick, it's square, there's no aerodynamics at all. I can move it across the atmosphere, skipping at the edge of the atmosphere 2 or 3 times the speed of sound and barely feel it out the window because there's no air there buffeting my hand. It's very, very thin. And yet, if I have the right types of materials, it will float right there. Wow. It won't sink to the ground. Yeah. So now I think about Japan.
Yes.
With its people, the next phase of where the world is going, with Japanese efficiency, cleanliness, growing techniques for food, the best food on planet Earth, the cleanest, purest food that you'll be able to eat on planet Earth is most likely going to be grown in greenhouses 25 miles above the Earth. And when we do that, there's so many things. I've written entire books on this. But when we do it, the cost to move stuff back and forth, it'll be cheaper than driving across Tokyo, gas-wise, to move tons and tons and tons of food, cheaper than any rail line to move it back and forth between the surface here and 25 miles up. So, and Japan, the reason I wanted to take a minute and talk about this for a second, what causes people to have hope to even birth the next generation? I've heard many people say, I don't want to have children. I don't want to bring them into the world because I don't want them to have to experience certain things. I'm telling you, Miyoko-san,
yes,
that there is a future that is so amazing, so beautiful, that you're going to want to be able to raise your children to enjoy. That as much as I love puppies and kittens, I would rather raise a child to enjoy that and God's face shine on us to enjoy that and to pass it on to the next generation. Within much of the cultures around the world, and Japan included, we think about our ancestors and things they did and the energy they passed on to us and what we've been given. Would we drop the baton that was handed off to us now? No way. I think that the young people, which I hope are who I'm talking to today, will think about this again, and that the young men would figure out how beautiful the Japanese women are and go enjoy them together and go make more babies right now and stay with them until they're adults and not leave them. Okay. And stay with the wife you married and enjoy the wife you married and don't be horsing around because it's more fun that way. You enjoy find the right person in the first place and enjoy raising children together and enjoy watching them go do beautiful, amazing things together in a wonderful world that God gave us.
Wow, that's beautiful place you're staying. How beautiful. Look at the ocean with
Yeah.
the sun. Oh, it's a sunset now starting. Wow, so beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that beautiful Hawaii scene.
Yes.
So
Yes. When I
you just gave us two things. One thing is a very scary future, and the next one is the very bright future. So the bright future, I believe, what you said, that we're going to have floating cities, and I believe that those kind of things float. But before that, you said we're going to have a big financial crash.
well, and again,
Very scary.
I can go into it in more detail, and I probably will at some point. A lot of people speak both languages. Some only speak one or the other. So, but it's kind of a fun book, and I hope your listeners will enjoy that. And if they have a way to get it, or somebody in the States that can send it over, order it. I'd love to get more in Japan, and we'll bring some over when we come to Japan. So.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. And say thank you to Jennifer.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, there she is. She's listening here right now. So
Okay. Jennifer, thank you.
Thank you so much, Miyoko.
Thank you. I'm sure you both must be tired for a long
no,
Okay.
we
Okay,
still have
thank you.
lots of work to do. I've got monsters that we have to go out and attack and slay still today. We're hard at it. So
Wow, but you have a beautiful ocean. So
yep,
you're so
yep.
lucky. Thank you very much. Thank
All
you.
right, kiddo.
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.
チャンネル登録と高評価をお願いします。